Ray,
Yes.
Toyota has gone a different route for their electrification plans. Sure, they're funneling like $15 billion into electrification, but they're not just diving headfirst into EVs. They are still pretty heavily focused on hybrids
Yes.
and plug-in hybrids.
Yes.
And finally, in 2022, their very first fully electric model, the BZ4X, has
Yes.
arrived on North American roads. But it's been a very bumpy arrival, to say the least.
Yes.
There's now a recall. Ray, have you ever driven till the wheels have fallen off?
Well, that's an old saying, but unfortunately, with the new BZ4X, that's not only a saying, that's a possibility, which is why they're being recalled.
Yes. Now, a new recall says that because of the risk of the wheels falling off,
Yes.
the 2,000 or so BZ4X drivers out there, which that's all we've got so far, they should be cautious and stop driving until they can get the recall fixed. Now, I'm a little bit relieved that this is not a powertrain recall because this is Toyota's big shot. They have waited years and years for this moment. They partnered up with Subaru for the development of this all-wheel drive powertrain. What do you think is going on with Toyota's electrification strategy? Are they playing it smart? I mean, they've got a recall with the wheels falling off, so that's not smart. But
No.
are they playing it smart when it comes to playing the long game and basically continuing to rake in profits from their hybrid powertrains to fund the growth of their electric vehicles?
It seems to me that they probably are. I think they realize that the switch over to all electric is probably going to be more gradual than abrupt as some of the other legacy manufacturers seem to think it will be. And so their strategy is, like the hybrids and the plug-in hybrids, that's almost like a bridge. They're using those as a bridge to electrification, and they realize that the bridge really could be a rather long bridge and not as short a bridge as a lot of the other manufacturers think. And yeah, thankfully it's not it's not a drivetrain issue for the BZ4X. I don't know what the fix is, because wheels shouldn't be falling off. But I do know that there are other issues with the vehicle, and the reason I say it is my dear friend Lee, who was considering the Solterra, which is the Subaru version of it, and he looked at it and he said, "Well, the range on it's terrible." Well, I didn't have the heart to break it to him that not only is the range terrible, but the charging time's even worse. Hey, you get to declare your independence from high prices from auto dealers. Join YAA. Get 15% off. Just type in July and the number 4.
I would not even call the range terrible. I would call the Nissan Leaf base trims 180 miles, or I think it's like 150 miles.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Okay.
So, but the Solterra and the BZ4X, they do get around 227 to 255 miles of range. Solterra, it's stuck in the 220s because it's all-wheel drive.
Yes.
The rear-wheel drive Solterra gets about 250. That's not terrible. However, the charging is terrible. If the all-wheel drive Solterra and all-wheel drive BZ4X, you're going to be looking at sitting around a charging station for 45 minutes to an hour on road trips every 180 miles or so, because nobody runs the battery down to zero. You stop when it's at like 10%.
Sure.
So every 180 miles, you're going to be waiting around for an hour. That is terrible. But so that aside, that's a blunder. That's Toyota's blunder, Subaru's blunder. It seems like they've got some tricks up their sleeve. They're going to build a $1.3 billion battery factory in North Carolina going online in 2025.
Okay.
They also have recently announced that they're going to be the first to bring a solid-state battery to market. That's very special news. Solid-state batteries don't weigh a bunch like traditional lithium-ion batteries do, and then in turn that would be better for the wear and tear of the car.
Yes.
More energy density, less fire-prone as far as we know. All these different things combined mean that Toyota might be able to be the first to bring this revolutionary technology to production cars. But there's a catch.
Okay.
Do you happen to know which vehicles Toyota will be putting the solid-state battery into?
Well, I'm guessing it's not the Yaris.
It's not the Yaris. It's going to be their hybrid powertrains. this just shows how cautious Toyota is
Yes.
being with electrification.
And if correct me if I'm wrong, but they're like the biggest player betting on solid state batteries being the way to go in the future, if I'm not mistaken. And one of the major drawbacks to solid state batteries is my understanding the cost, and they're
Yes.
trying to figure out a way to be able to manufacture them so that, well, the cost is more reasonable, so that it could make more sense. It's, we're so early in this, that I think we all just need to have a little bit of patience, and give it some time and see. It's almost like beta and VHS. Sony came out with beta, and Sony's a pretty big player in the entertainment industry, but beta was the wrong bet. So, maybe it's solid state batteries, maybe it's not. But let's see. Now, everybody else was doing the lithium batteries, and then Toyota wants to come out with the solid state. So maybe they'll end up being the VHS of batteries, and the others will eventually fall by the wayside and go solid state as well. We need to give it some time to see which direction it's really going to go.
Yeah, and I think we need to believe in the power of innovation, because historically that's what's got us through so many hardships, and the automotive industry has seen innovation throughout the history of the internal combustion engine. So
absolutely.
we can't act like EVs are just going to be, taking an hour to charge and weighing 4,500 pounds forever. Things are going to get better if innovation continues, and I believe it will.
Oh, I'm sure innovation will continue. As I said, I think we just need to give it a bit more time to see where we're really headed. I don't doubt for a minute that we're headed towards electrification. I'm just not betting 100% on which power source for electrification that I would be betting on.
So are you saying that as an EV driver myself, I'm an early adopter?
Well, you are indeed.
Oh, what a compliment. Thank you, Ray.
Well, you're welcome. And I would say I'm not, but that's besides the point.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, Justin.